Okay, so I've got the site plan open there in Revit, and I'm going to use this as a basis for my site analysis plan. So there's really two processes here. I'm going to be going through how we can get the orientation correct, and by that I mean the solar orientation, using pretty much the same technique as I showed you earlier with the plan that we inserted, but this time using a satellite image. And you can see there, I've already done it, but I'm going to repeat that process so you can see how I've done it. And you'll see once I show you, it's actually quite a simple thing. As long as you understand it, you'll easily be able to do this without remembering too many steps. And then the second process is adding in some 2D graphics and bringing that across into Photoshop for further development. And that'll obviously be the second thing. So I'm just going to go into Google and go to good old Google Maps and find our site. Just going to zoom to it. And while I'm doing that, I'll just tell you about the other service, or see if you know. Do you know the other place you can get satellite images? Exactly, 6 Maps. Did I tell you about that before, or someone else has told you? I told you before, did I? Oh, right, okay, yeah. Yeah. So well, let's just quickly open that one up. I'm not going to use it, but if you haven't tried it before, it's higher resolution, generally higher quality than Google, but it doesn't have Street View. Ah, here we go. It remembers where I was last. That's Ultimo. So you can see there, if you zoom in, it's much better resolution than Google. But I'm going to use Google because for site analysis, I actually find it's probably more useful than 6 Maps because it shows you all the local features. And that's an important thing with site analysis. So you've got the things that you can see in and around your locality and your site, but then you've got the things that you often aren't going to even show on your drawings, but you still need to indicate and be aware of, like the local transport facilities, shopping and other social amenities are really important. In fact, for me, public transport, indicating that is critical, I think. So again, you'll get all of those things on Google Maps, and on 6 Maps you won't. Now, having done that, I've gone and zoomed and forgotten where I am. Where are we here? So, shouldn't be trying to do this by up. Normally I can. So there's Victoria Park. Here we are. So Myrtle Street. Why can't I see it? Up. There it is. Yep, got it. And the park is, it's the Peace Park, isn't it, there? So there we are, that's it, yep. It's been a while. Alright, so we'll go to satellite and we've got it. So, what's the basic property of a satellite image like this, or any map that you see? Where's north? Exactly, straight up. And which north is it? Is it magnetic north? Real north, I don't even know what real north, maybe that's a thing. What's the other word for it? True north. So you know there are other types of north. Magnetic north is different to true north, so make sure you realise that. If you see it on a survey, that's a different north. But we want true north because true north tells us the direction of the sun, basically. I'll give you a bigger talk about it. I actually get fascinated with all the different types of north for some reason. So I've got my satellite image zoomed in as much as I can, and that's probably a good view to use. And then I'm just going to use the snipping tool to capture that image. And to give you a tip there, whenever you're capturing an image like this, a satellite image or a map, make sure you get the scale bar. So down the bottom right corner you can see that little thing with 10 metres on it, that's our scale bar. So I've captured that, and just scrolling across you can see I've got the scale bar. So I'm going to save that now as an image, and if you look into the folder on the P drive, I've already given you a few that you can use. So I'll save it into the site analysis folder, Get another one. Myrtle Street, Google satellite image, or just sat. Okay, so then applying the same principles as you used to scale the floor plan, we can scale that satellite image. So firstly, I'm going to duplicate my site floor plan, which is called site. Yours may have a different name, but you should always have a view with a name like that, either site or site plan. So I'm going to right click, duplicate view, and then duplicate with, well, in fact here duplicate's fine. And then I'm going to right click and rename that and call it site satellite. Go to the Insert tab and click Image and find that file that I've just saved. Folder. Here we are. That's it. And then I'm just going to click anywhere to place it. Not really worried about the location because I have to move it anyway. And then I'm going to zoom in to find that scale bar. And you probably already have an idea if you've scaled the plan, what I'm about to do. Click on the scale button. Click to one side. You know where you click on the line when you see a scale bar like this? Click on the side, outside. You'd think so in the old days when it was all hand-drawn, you would have clicked on the outside. But this is not hand-drawn, it's drawn by a computer. Computers, and most hand-drawing now as well, it's the centre line. The centre of the line is where it's measuring from. So I'm going to get to the centre of that line, and then on the other side, again, click on the centre of that line, the vertical line. So I picked up my 2 points, and then I'll type in the size they should be, which again, you've probably realised already. It's 10,000. Enter. And it doesn't hurt to double check that. I know it's the right size, but to make sure, I'll click on the measure button so that I can see, clicking between those 2 points now, it is close enough to being 10 metres. 10,005. 5 mil is within a degree of accuracy, so that's the right size. But then I've got to move it into position. You can see there's our building. And we can tell visually already it's the same size as what I've modelled, so that also tells us it's the right size. So I've got it in position. I'm going to move it back away so that I can see both of them together, because obviously this building in the image is a different angle. So I'm going to click the rotate tool and show you one little thing. When you're using rotate, you may not have realised that a base point will always come up, that little dot in the middle, and you can drag it. So if you're in AutoCAD, that's similar to AutoCAD. So if I click on this, also release on the corner there, and then you'll see my baseline comes out, and I can align that with the back of the building, and then bring it around so it snaps to being horizontal. So now I've rotated the satellite image so it lines up with our building. We definitely do not want to rotate our building. We want to keep that nice and orthogonal at right angles. So then I can drag to line up the satellite image by eye. Don't try and be too precise here, because you've got to remember satellite images are still perspectives. It's never going to line up perfectly. So that's good enough. And so how do we tell then which way north is? Exactly, that's it. I mean, you've got the north arrow there as well, but you don't even need that, because if you've kept the satellite image facing north, then of course the sides of that image are still oriented to true north. So, how do we tell Revit which way true north is? And that's the next thing, there's a tool for that. So, if you go to the Manage tab, you'll see under Position there's an option to rotate true north. But I can't use that yet. If I click on it, you'll see it'll tell me you can't do this because the view isn't oriented to true north. That's just a setting in your view properties. You'll see you've got orientation. It's on project north, so we have to change that to true north. Now, mine's flipped already because I'd done this previously, so I'm going to undo that. That's confusing, sorry, I'll just fix that. So I'm going to put it back to the way you'll have it. That should be right, so just one sec. Yeah. Okay, so this is how you'll have it. And so, again, you've got the image rotated. I've changed the orientation now in properties to true north, and it's not changing. You shouldn't expect it to change when you change that setting. It's only after you then go to rotate true north. Click and drag to bring the base point onto the corner of your satellite image. Bring it up to snap to the other corner on the top, top left. Then bring it around so that it snaps to a vertical or 90-degree line, which you kind of have to feel. You can sort of see there, I'm moving it to make sure it's snapping in the right way. It's hard, the angle's actually coming up there, but it's hard to see it. Maybe I'll zoom out so it's easier for you to see. So there we are. So that's the correct angle, so it's about 19.53, and yours should be pretty much the same. So I'll click. So now it's brought the satellite image back to the way it was. But notice how the building is rotated. And you're probably thinking, I've gone and done what I said not to do and rotated the building. But actually I haven't, because if we look at the other drawings, all of those other views, sorry, let's forget that one, but all of those other views are still oriented the way they were. And that's really important because we want most of our floor plans and ceiling plans and everything else to be oriented to your page. But the true north views are oriented to true north. And that's a really powerful thing because, again, we can have these views that show us the solar orientation while still working with the building at right angles to the page in most of the plans. So, okay, so I might do another demo after this on those other things because they're going to be going a bit further and maybe it's a bit too much to take in. So I'll give you some time maybe to try that and I'll do another demo on doing the 2D overlays, but I'll show you one last little thing that relates to this, and that is to turn the sun path on. It's a nice thing in Revit, and you've probably seen this option already and clicked on it by mistake. When you click on the sun, you've got sun settings. I'll show you that. That's a really useful thing that we're going to get into later when we start doing shadows. But I don't want that. So that's normally why you click on the sun button though to get to sun settings. But you might have also seen there you've got the option to turn your sun path on. And when you do that, you're going to get the big sun rows that Revit gives you, which you can use to do lots of tricky things. You can move the sun around and actually change the lighting using that tool. And it shows you the sun path. So we can also drag the date. Here we are, just moving that. So you can see then this is the sun path in summer. So, well, maybe we'll just see what you know. So which way, where does the sun rise? East, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. I actually had to learn that when I was a kid, for some reason. Yeah, so that was embarrassing. And then I realised that it's not always true anyway. So is it always from the east? Dead east? Or does it change? Yeah. So in winter, where does it really rise from? Is it dead east or is it northeast, southeast?
North.
Exactly. Yeah, it's northeast. So in winter, and you can see I'm just dragging this date so you can see it, that's where the sun rises. In June, it's almost northeast. In Sydney. Closer to the equator, it's not so far north. then if we drag that down, this is winter, and you can see, sorry, summer I mean. So in summer, it's almost southeast. So when you hear that people say the sun generally comes from the north, that's absolutely true. But in summer, the sun does come from the south in the morning and the afternoon. When it's rising and setting, you'll get southern sun. So those windows that almost never get light, in summer and winter, we'll get a bit. That's really interesting, and you can see that when you drag this. It's a really good thing to get familiar with the sun in the location you're working in, because closer to the tropics it's very different, and then if you go right down south or right up north, it's different again. So Melbourne, it comes down even further. It's about there. And Melbourne's only, 1,000 kilometres south? 800, right, yeah. Yeah. So, that's how I learnt. Oh no, so I did get the diagrams before Revit came out, but then Revit came out, it really helped me to, just get familiar with those sun positions and nice thing to play with. And I'll show you afterwards how you can do a sun path diagram using that icon to project off. I'll do that after, so I'll give you some time to try that, and then